there. I'm David C. Hoke, author of the novel Mirov. I'm going to kind of do a twofer on this video, and we're going to talk about a movie that's in my top 10 and one that is not, but still a favorite. The one in my top 10 is There Will Be Blood. The one not in my top 10 is Inglourious Basterds, Tarantino's Inglourious Basterds. There Will Be Blood, pretty much every scene I love. And it's that one is on my top 10. And of course the last stretch at the bowling alley is the highlight for me, like I'm sure it is most people. The way he cadences his voice throughout the movie is just amazing. Now, also throwing Inglourious Basterds into the mix, particularly I'm talking about the opening scene between Hans Landa and the dairy farmer that's keeping or hiding rather the Jews under his floorboards. I love Tarantino. He's one of my favorite filmmakers. And I love that movie. It's not my top 10, but I really like it a lot. But that scene might be my second favorite Tarantino scene ever. My first would be the stretch, the house versus Kill Bill, the House of Blue Leaves. It's probably my favorite scene that he ever did to date. But the dialogue and the cadence of it, and also talking about the cadence of Daniel Plainview. Maybe you don't connect those yourself, and I'm not directly connected to them at all. I connect them more in a feeling than anything. The way Hans kind of shows up, and he's somewhat affable, actually. He's he's Nazi, obviously, and so he carries that weight, and he definitely feared that way, and rightfully so. And he's not that like him, but he's for a Nazi, as horrible as it sounds, he seems like kind of like the Eddie Izzard joke. Oh, he's a good Nazi. Maybe he's one of the good Nazis. I don't know at first. Compliments the ladies. He wants a glass of milk, and he's very polite. He asks permission to sit. He asks permission to use English. He asks to smoke his pipe. There's no good Nazi at all, but he seems to be courteous and have a few decent traits about him. And as the scene progresses, you see how he's manipulated the entire thing. And he spoke English for a reason, and he's quizzed, the dairy farmer, all these things for a reason. You find out he's not a good Nazi. He is a lecherous piece of shit Nazi, like they all are, and he totally is typical of what he is. He's a crap Nazi. And but it's the way he hides it, and the way he holds himself, the way he carries himself. He does the same thing in the scene later in the restaurant, but with the pastry and the whipped cream, and it's perfectly played by Christoph Waltz, and perfectly written as well. And it's the way it constructs a villain that is awkward, like the scene with the Brad Pitt. It's a bingo. Is that how you say it? Is that a bingo? Oh, how fun! He's awkward. He's really weird and awkward, but yet you fear him, and I dug that. Now, bringing in There Will Be Blood, the power of the cadence of Daniel Plainview's voice, to how it manipulates and how it exerts power on, and until finally, at the end, he's pretty much gone over the edge, and I have the third revelation. But the way they control their voices, both actors and both performances. The depth of it, and of course more of the case with Hans, throws it up into a higher pitch. I found all that very intriguing and very interesting, particularly in a villain, which basically both characters are ultimately bad dudes. One's a traditional villain, one's a little more unconventional villain, to say the least. In some ways, I guess you could say that's what a villain is, maybe. Anyway, it's a character study in a sense, maybe. Anyway, but to take the awkwardness and the control of the voice, and the never knowing where you stand with this character that ultimately creates an intimidation. Daniel Plainview has his moments where he's very nice, and he's nice to the crowd when he's giving his little speech. My son and I, hope you forgive my plain speaking and all that kind of things. He hides under the guise of politeness, just like Hans does. He hides under the guise of experience, that he's an oil man. And even when he pretends to be a dove or a quail hunter, and really sizing up the land, and the landowners, maybe not the sharpest guy in the world, but he pretends to be a person of faith, to get what he wants, and ultimately has to even get it baptized, or something he doesn't want to do. But it basically, the awkwardness of Hans, and the manipulation of both, and the voice control, particularly of Daniel Plainview, I found very intriguing. And so what I wanted to do was take those unconventional characterizations, and let's just go ahead and put those together and broaden it. And in the case of maybe a couple characters are directly yet indirectly influenced by that within the book Mirov. So I tried to just take those and sort of build on them. And then for one particular character, when I was in one building of the story, I had a hard time. They weren't antagonist enough. I drew inspiration to make it more bad guy like, for lack of a better way to put it, from those two characters and their performances that they put together, and to give me a visualization in my head of who I needed to draw from. So where the other examples of my videos have been more from somewhat direct influences and direct emotions, this is a case where I pulled from feeling and voice and characterization. It wasn't just one thing. It wasn't just one scene. That it was more of hearing their voices and then trying to replicate those voices, and then work reverse engineer it to who that voice is coming from. And so, a very unusual way to approach and show you guys an influence, but nevertheless, it's true, and I wanted to show you guys as many facets that I could, and then showcase these are great movies, that one and all, and I'd really wanted to share and showcase what I find so special about them. So in this case, an amalgamation of different things to go into creating a character. So go out and check out Inglourious Basterds. Go out and check out There Will Be Blood. If you haven't seen them before, they are completely worth it. Not sure if There Will Be Blood's on 4K. I think Inglourious Basterds is. But get the best version of those you can. There Will Be Blood has amazing cinematography. Inglourious Basterds has some moments of really good sound, so good sound system would be helpful for both movies, obviously. They're not your typical action movies by any stretch of the imaginations, but they're both fascinating movies to check out for different reasons. But we don't always get our inspirations from the most direct of influences, and I thought that these would be a good way to show that. So hopefully you go check out Mirov, and you'll like it too.